Malcolm Nance, MSNBC terrorism analyst, author of The Plot to Hack America.
And in essence, surrendered this nation's opinions to a foreign power. And only someone who's an expert in cults could explain why they will accept any lie, anything that even appears to be, no matter how detached from the truth and reality it is now theirs, and they embrace it.
There is an interesting and I think valid equivalence question here. Okay, the Russians messed with our election, they messed with the French election. The U.S. has an unfortunate history of affecting other countries' elections, suppressing the communists in Italy, installing governments in Guatemala going back to the 50s, Mossadegh in Iran. We could go on. There's a rich list. So haven't we done it too?
You know, I get this question a lot, and they go, oh, and all you intelligence guys, or you can't be trusted. Well, you know what? We can't account for American history, but every one of those activities was exposed by our system of government.
More than any other president, Obama has prosecuted truth-tellers known as whistleblowers.
4 Humvees out along you're clear. All right, firing. Line here, when stage line let me know when you have it. Or shoot. Light them all up.
202 traffic, 260.
Come on, fire. Hey, Roger.
The video still has not been released by the Pentagon, and it was only as a result of a whistleblower inside the US military stepping forward with the material that we see it now. There would be no discussion today at all if it was not for that military whistleblower stepping forward.
American soldier Bradley Manning has been sentenced to 35 years in prison for the biggest leak of classified information in US history. The 25-year-old gave the WikiLeaks website more than 700,000 secret military and diplomatic documents.
The traitor Edward Snowden steal that information. He should be brought back from Russia and given due process, and I think the proper outcome would be that he would be given a death sentence.
And we found, look, let's be honest, when the Church Committee hearings were done in the 1970s, we found agencies completely out of control with zero accountability to the U.S. government. And some of those activities were very nefarious, overthrowing regimes, assassinating people, or at least having the potential to assassinate our enemies.
I'm a firm believer in targeted assassination.
That was all brought under control after the 1970s. Do we influence elections? Yes, we influence elections. But we influence elections through two major nonprofits that go out and do good work. You know, I believe it's the National Republican Association and the National Democratic Association, which works with activists in these countries to strengthen their elections and strengthen their political party systems.
What would happen if the U.S. government used social media to undermine a hostile foreign government? That may be exactly what the U.S. Agency for International Development tried to do in Cuba with Zunzuneo, a Twitter-style social media platform secretly controlled by the U.S. government.
That's good. And American democracy is fundamentally good, and we eliminate the players.
The network was designed to undermine the government in Cuba.
What we don't do is go to Los Cruces and find the most virulent of nerve agents ever created in the history of America and go around and poison people in our allies' nations. We don't do that. We don't come in and fundamentally choose a person.
The senators later meet with Ukraine's newly installed leaders, where acting President Alexander Turchinov praises McCain's efforts.
I am very grateful to John McCain for his participation in this historical process in Ukraine.
McCain traveled to Kiev in December when he addressed demonstrators whose protest helped lead to the ouster of former President Viktor Yanukovych.
And decide that that person's going to be our candidate, and then craft a meta-narrative around an election, and then convince the American public that that person is our choice, and he's the one that's going to help things.
What do you think?
I think we're in play.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, you know, fuck the EU.
No, exactly. And I think we've got to do something to make it stick together.
So that he can dismantle the entirety of the NATO alliance since 1949. We don't do that. Now, are we better than them? Yes, we're better than them. I'm just, bang.
Yeah. Let's make a value judgment. We're better.
Yeah, well, you know.
We aren't whacking people right and left, rewarding kleptocrats. I'm not sure.
During the rioting and widespread chaos, 3 men were killed. One of them was Los Angeles Times columnist Ruben Salazar. Salazar and a couple of friends dropped into the Silver Dollar Cafe on Whittier Boulevard for a couple of drinks. Salazar was killed instantly by a tear gas projectile fired by a deputy sheriff.
We are not killing our citizens.
A week after her contamination, Karen Silkwood was killed in a car crash while on her way to deliver her evidence to a reporter for the New York Times.
Sure, we're in total equivalence.
We are not killing journalists.
Sure. Gary Webb is on the line from San Jose. And
it was about a cocaine ring that operated along the west coast of the United States throughout most of the 80s. And they were funneling, they were selling cocaine in South Central. They were also selling it in Oakland. They were selling it in San Francisco. They were selling it in San Jose.
Since this has happened, you have butted heads with everybody in Washington, D.C., trying to get information about the story, have you not?
Yeah.
By mid-morning of the 12th, a dozen Iraqis were dead. Among them, 2 Reuters news agency staff members gunned down by a U.S. Apache gunship.
We are not going around the world and carrying out chemical weapons terrorist attacks. Do we project power in such a way that people can mistake that as something similar? Yes, we like to drop bombs. But usually we try to drop bombs for good reasons.
We do think that this has evolved into a coup. The president, as you know, has been expelled. Another person has been substituted for the president. But we think that this is a fast-moving situation that requires constant attention, which we are certainly providing to it.
The steps that President Lobo and his government have taken deserve our support.
What we don't do is we don't go out and back strongmen today. I won't say that that was never done in American history, who mass murder 500,000 of their own citizens. And then we don't try to re-engineer the polls of the world, except that now I have a president which has abandoned democracy, who has removed strengthening and fostering democracy from the mission statement of the State Department. All right? For Christ, crying out loud. So, you can't run this nation as a liar. They have called into question whether we even believe what we are or who we are. Are you going to take that lying down, or are you going to mobilize and stand for it? I know what my choice is.